Today we're going to focus on multiplying polynomials. So your target's real short and sweet. That's all we're going to do. We're just going to multiply them, okay? We've added like terms and subtracted like terms. Now we're going to focus on multiplication. So your target shouldn't take you long to write. If you need a pause to write down your warm-up, you can. These should be pretty quick for you as well. 2 cubed times 2 to the 4th, multiplying the same base. So I add their exponents. I'm going to have 2 to the 3 plus 4, or 2 to the 7th. So you know what, guys? That's probably the biggest number I would expect you to take out, but I think you can do it. 2 to the 5th is 32, and that would leave me a 2 squared, so 32 times 4. What would that be? That would be 128. On the next one, 5 cubed raised to the second power. Multiplying, we have a power in a power, so we multiply the exponents. 5 to the 6th. You know what? You could leave this like this. If you knew it, you could finish simplifying that and evaluate it. But if you don't have a calculator for class, which I normally don't let you use, that's as far as I would take it. Last one, guys, we're multiplying here. We have a -4 on the outside. So we're going to take this -4 and multiply it by each term on the inside. These are 3 separate terms, right? Because we have a plus or a minus sign that we run into. So we have to multiply it 3 times. We would have -4 times the 2x squared, -4 times the minus or -5x, and -4 times the minus or -7. So multiply each term. -4 times this term, guys, there's only one term in here, so you don't give this to the 2 and the x, you just do it once. So give me -8x squared. -4 times -5x would give me a positive 20x. And a -4 times -7 would give me a positive 28. So we're going to focus more on problems like C today. We're going to start with just monomials. What does mono mean? It means you have one term. So guys, if you take a look at the examples in example 1, this is just one term times another term, right? There's no plus or minus signs in there. Terms are separated by addition or subtraction. So you just have one term times another term. Remember your exponent rules. If you multiply 2 terms with a common base, what do you do with the exponents? You add them. So if I had x squared times x cubed, I would have x to the 5th, right? Now keep in mind, guys, that only works if you have a common base. So if I have x squared times y, I have to leave it like that. They're not the same base. I would just leave it as x squared y. All right, so let's try A. When you're multiplying these monomials, if you think about it, what operation's occurring in this set of parentheses right here? It's 3 times m times n squared, right? And what operation's occurring in between these parentheses? Times again. And what operation's occurring over here? 9 times n squared times n. So every operation in this problem is multiplication. Really, this is all one big term. We can use the commutative and associative properties to reorder this multiplication problem. I'm going to regroup it. I'm just going to do 3 times the 9 times, don't add any plus or minus signs in there, keep it all multiplication, m times the m squared, so I'm grouping the terms that I like to do together, times, oops, oh my goodness, the n squared times n. Now you can multiply each set there. 3 times 9 is 27. M times n squared is m cubed, right? Because we're adding the exponents, and there's a 1 here. And n squared times n is n cubed. That's how you multiply monomials. Try B. Again, if you don't see any addition or subtraction signs, then this is all just multiplication. And since there's parentheses, the multiplication's occurring in between there. This is really like a -12 times s times t squared. So multiply everything, guys. Regroup the ones together that you want. I would regroup 1/4 times a -12 times s squared, s, and s, times t squared, t, and t squared. Now do each of the like bases together. Well, we can multiply these coefficients, right? 1/4 of -12 is -3. And multiplying these s's together, we're adding the exponents, so it's s to the 4th. Multiplying these t's together, we're adding the exponents, so it's t to the 5th. You get -3s to the 4th, t to the 5th. One thing I will say, guys, notice the letters in alphabetical order. It's just kind of standard way that we do things. If there's more than one variable within a term, you want to put them in order that matches the alphabet, okay? So that's monomial times monomial. Now, once you have something times a polynomial, so we have our monomial times a polynomial, this is going to be just like our warm-up, guys. You're going to take that 4x and you're going to give it to each term inside the parentheses. So I would do 4x times the 3x squared. That's one term. Here's another term, 4x, so I'm going to keep that plus sign, 4x times the 4x. I'm going to keep the minus sign then, and it's 4x times the 8. Or if you wanted to make it plus, you would put the -8 over there. Now just multiply each set here. What is 4x times 3x squared? It's all multiplication in there. So 4 times 3 is 12. X times x squared is x cubed. Once you get to a plus sign, we can't keep going there. That's just one term. Now we got to multiply the next term. What's 4x times 4x? Well, 4 times 4 is 16. X times x is x squared. Last term then, guys, we have the minus or the negative, 4x times 8. Negative times a positive gives me a negative, and it's going to be 32x. Try B for me. If you need to pause for a second, you can, and then check your answer with me. So B, I'm taking this 1/2 x squared y and giving it to each of these two terms. I would like you to take the time to write out this step because this can get messy. There's a lot going on. Lots of x's and y's, lots of variables here. Do one term at a time. This multiplication, multiply the coefficients, and I would get 3. Multiply the x's, x cubed, and multiply the y's, y squared. Plus sign, and now you're going to do these two together. 1/2 of 8 is 4. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th. And y times y squared is y cubed. That's as far as you can multiply it out, although actually I shouldn't have boxed that in, because is this in standard form? What's the degree of the first term? This degree here, 3 and 2, is a degree 5. The term has a degree 5. This term has a degree of 7. So actually, we should rewrite this to be 4x to the 4th y cubed plus 3x cubed y squared. And this would be my final answer. All right. So that's multiplying a polynomial by a monomial. We're going to move on to multiplying binomials by binomials and polynomials together. I'm going to start a new video, so this is a good pausing moment if you want, or you can just move straight into the next one.